Ortiz as well. One or two of those keepers are going to be in a World Cup squad, probably, along with Matt Turner.
And we tried to get Pochettino to give us some sense of depth chart or who has a chance. Of course, he didn't bite on that question when we sat down and had lunch with them. You know, he and his staff talked about hope, want every player to believe they have a chance to go get there. But of course, goalkeeper Turner is the most veteran player, and if you had to go tomorrow, he's the guy. But if you look at the 9 position and you look at the goalkeeper position, it's one that you obviously always need a great backup, but one where there's just not yet a clear number one that is by far and away who's going to start in the next tournament. And I think Pepe's the one that continues to make the biggest argument for himself. But come on, here he comes.
In fact, Jesus Ferreira, who was in camp and has, after just making the move from Dallas to Seattle, left after a few days, talked about the fact that Mauricio Pochettino, and it's a theme that Pochettino has used with us as well, told the players it doesn't matter where you play, it doesn't matter if you're in Europe or in Major League Soccer, if you can prove you can do the job at this level, then you will be in the consideration when it comes round to 2026. This is Gutierrez. Kevin Clark down the right side as we head back down to Melissa Ortiz.
Striker Patrick Agyemang posted his inspiring story on TikTok last month, and he talked about his youth soccer journey. At one point, his parents couldn't afford his youth team fees, and the coaches said, don't worry, just play. They obviously saw the ton of potential that he had. In high school is when he realized he had that potential. Then, Luke, you were talking about his journey. He was a standout All-American in a D3, but it wasn't until a friend did a favor, told a coach at a D1 program that, hey, you better sign this kid. And that's when he went to Division I, Rhode Island. And then he was a round 1 draft pick to Charlotte in 2023. And just a year later in 2024, he scored 10 goals and 3 assists. And now, well, he's scoring his debut game, a golazo. And Patrick Agyemang is definitely a striker up for that number 9 contention.
Campbell across to the left here for Kromaski. Now it's Arston.
Did you see that story on TikTok? I know you're a big TikToker.
I rely on Melissa Ortiz.
Yes,
for
we all
my
do.
TikTok
we all
news
do.
and
Thank God we
updates.
have her.
She's yet to persuade me to be in any of those TikTok videos, so I don't
We'll
think
get there.
that's really my kind of thing. Caden Clark down the right here has support from Shackmore pushing forward. Can he get the crossing at the byline? He can't.
Yeah, more just giving him that look. I've got wheels, but nothing like that.
Shackmore talking yesterday about his upbringing in Fort Lauderdale and how nice it was to be back here for this game today. Made the move to Dallas in December, having been with Nashville since July of 2022.
I like Chuck. That's another player that I think is making strides, making statements.
Changes coming up for Venezuela. Tomas Gutierrez will be coming in, a defender, also midfielder Maurice Kova. Fernando Batista, the 54-year-old Argentine, was one of 7 Argentine coaches at Copa America last year. In fact, I think it'll be a triple change. Saul Bararipa coming in as well. A free kick. The referee allows play to continue because Gutierrez has it here and just too far in front of Kromaski.
Yeah, good year, is it? And maybe I got to get my eyes checked, but he just looks like Aronson. It just reminds me so much of how he runs. I mean, just very hard working off the ball, very honest, balanced, 2-footed. You know, even the shaggy hair, but he's just a handful. You know. He's not having an outstanding game, but every time he's on the ball, he's creating something. He's just demonstrating that he's a player that makes the team better, player that makes the defense have to think and feel a little unbalanced. And not everything's coming off, but it's just clear he wants to make a difference every time he gets on the ball. I like his performance today.
Juan Pablo Añor is leading the game. So is Jan Hurtado, and at the back, Francisco Lamantia as well. See Diego Luna getting ready for the United States. Also, Emeka Eneli, so an RSL double coming up for the United States. And Devon Jones as well. This ball's played through for Agyman. Agyman battling, couldn't quite get away this time from Carlos Vivas. Vivas has his hands full, but he's, the last couple of times Agyman's tried to get through, done a pretty good job at marshalling the Charlotte man.
Well, and this touch, Agyman, he doesn't take it away. You can see he brings it across right into the defender. If he could just push that, get his arm out, he can extend and get away. Yes, as well.
Here comes the corner for the United States. From that far side, right at the hour mark. And this one curled towards George Campbell. Like a bingo card, all the numbers I'm hearing in my headphones right now about the substitutes that are happening here. I think 4 for the United States as well is the final number that will settle on. It looks like Brian White will join the others. Always love the hour mark in an international friendly on both sides.
That's when I just look over at you and go, best luck.
That ball out wide to the right side, finds his captain. It's pushed forward beautifully by Rosales down that far side. Miles Robinson having to do the defending here as Venezuela come forward and strike from distance. It was Edson Tortolero who is over there on that far side after the departure of Juan Pablo Añor, who had started wide right and came more central as the game went on.
Looking forward to seeing Luna. He just has a quality that is fun to watch. It's something different. Every time I've seen him get an opportunity, whether at the younger levels or just sniff at the first team, he's come on and been the same dynamic and creative and capable player that we've enjoyed in Major League Soccer. Maybe not at full fitness yet, but Coach Tino thinks highly of him for sure.
They come off the bench today. It's a high likelihood I would think that Luna might get the start against Costa Rica on Wednesday night in Orlando. 2024 MLS Young Player of the Year. He was an all-star last year as RSL finished with 59 points, a club record. He had career highs with 8 goals and 12 assists. Somewhat surprisingly in the U23's camp last March, but not at the Olympics. Gratterol down the left.
Well, it's always amazing when I was fortunate to wear the 10 for the U.S. and when a player actually is a 10, you know, when they're dynamic. I grew up watching Tab and Perez and all these guys. I love seeing Luna wear the 10 and play with it.
We'll have it forward to McGlynn down the left. McGlynn's ball back into that path of Matt Milhevic. He gets his goal. A wonderful flowing move from the United States. A first cap, a first goal for Matko Milhevic.
I mentioned watching him in training and his finishing ability, but lovely little skill, balance, gets it wide. And I think I used the phrase animal. He's just been an animal today, getting into these right spots. Collects it, takes a nice little, maybe fortunate bounce off his thigh, but he's thinking, crack this thing. And he just hits it beautifully with his laces, takes it early, and you can see leaning to the left. Fernandez is he's trying to see the ball, he's trying to get a sense of when it's coming down, but he just dispatches it so quickly. And after missing a penalty, he didn't put his head down, he continued to perform, he continued to battle, and he got his goal.
Probably a name that no one would have expected to be on the January camp roster if you asked mid-December. But Matko Milhevic leaves with his last touch of the game being a goal. Key sub of the game, the auto-trader key sub of the game is Emeka Eneli, Mr. Dependable for Real Salt Lake. 25-year-old from Lansing, Michigan, who signed a contract extension last August through 2028. voted by teammates as the Real Salt Lake MVP this year. Amongst the players making way, Patrick Agyemang, one of the first half goal scorers. Max Afston's debut ends as well at the 65-minute mark. So Mauricio Pochettino changing things around. Brian White with a big opportunity coming in here. Played an hour last January on his debut against Slovenia. Been with Vancouver Whitecaps since January of 2021. And he has had a couple of great seasons for the Whitecaps. 15 goals in 30 regular season games last year for Brian White, who was rewarded once again with the call.
Pochettino, he's mentioned it a few times, but he said it the other day when we were having lunch with them, and I loved it. He said, we work for the players. You know, it sounds like a simple thing to say, but it really is clear, especially with this young group that comes in, how relaxed and how enjoyable the camp seems from the outside.
Playing towards Luna. Yeah, we said to him, what do you want to see more? The individual performances or the team looking how you want the team to look? And he said, at this point, for these players, I want to see them impress me. I want to see their individual performances come up to a level where I know what the depth of my squad is, and I can see them giving me challenges moving forward, because I think that from what I've seen in these games, in this camp, that they can cope at this level. And then he said, but we want to win. And he's going to get that win today. 3-0 up, the midway mark in the half. Gramaski, Agyemang both leading the game. Afston as well, and Milhavik. Picked up here, and the deflection after the challenge by George Campbell takes that behind. Lara Rapper with a shot. One of the substitutes that came on for Venezuela. First time that two US men's national team players have scored on their debuts in the same game since December of 2020. That fixture against El Salvador we mentioned here in this stadium. Chris Mueller and Ayo Akinola were the players that day on their debut to find the net. And this is headed into the top corner by Iriarte to pull a goal back for Venezuela. Jorge Iriarte, who came on at half-time, met it and planted it in the top corner.
Let's see how Iriarte finds himself open here. Just a pile of players, and couldn't tell who had that mark. And you'll get a sense here, he's just sitting free and more. Not sure if he's supposed to be marking space or who's supposed to be with him. No one gets a body on him. It's a lovely header. A little too easy there. One of the tallest players, a player that comes in and on a set piece, Pochettino, especially a defender himself, would not like that there was not one hand laid on him before he headed that ball in.
And on a day of debuts and first goals, it's a first international goal and a first international appearance for Jorge Iriarte, the 24-year-old who plays for Real Murcia in the 3rd division in Spain. He's played for 4 teams in Spain over the last 6 years. Started 12 of 19 games this season for Real Murcia. Now Diego Luna battling for it on the far side. Last time the US got a win against Venezuela was 3 games ago, January of 2012. It was a 1-0 scoreline in Glendale. Ricardo Clark with the 96th minute winner. A bit of a spring in the step here of Venezuela. And the referee gives this free kick away of the US, as it was Loca Mendoza fouling Shaq Moore. ever meeting between these teams, all the way back in June of 1993 in Copa America in Ecuador. A 3-3 draw. Chris Henderson, John Doyle and Dominic Kinnear with the goals. US led by 3-0. Venezuela scored late. Corva plays it across the midfield. Diego Luna trying to win it back. George Campbell away on the half volley. The play goes for a US throw on the far side. Orlando, the venue for the game against Costa Rica, coming up on Wednesday night, the second game of this January camp. This is Diego Luna. Lovely little touch towards Jack McGlynn. There Juan Jones with space down the left side. The Columbus man running at Roberto Rosales, the right back, most experienced player on this Venezuela side. A deflection on the way through. Luna couldn't get on the end of it.
Really disruptive to make so many substitutions. The U.S. have to get the rhythm back. They're just going to put their foot on the ball and establish a tempo again.
Vasilev getting set to come in for the United States. Jones. Back for McGlynn. Miles Robinson launching this ball across field, trying to pick out Caden Clark. Graterol able to head it away for Venezuela, and it looked like there was a shove in the back there. It was. Shaq Moore with the foul on Glaker Mendoza. US winless in their last 3 January camp games. In San Antonio last year, a 1-0 defeat against Slovenia, and then in 2023 they lost 2-1 against Serbia and tied 0-0 against Colombia. Brian Gutierrez makes way as Indiana Vasilev comes in. Gutierrez going just over 70 minutes on his US debut. It's a debut now for Indiana Vasilev of St. Louis. First call up to Vasilev. Could represent the US or Bulgaria. Played for the US at youth level, U17s through to under 23s. This one is played in high. Schulte has to claim, because Wararapa was climbing high. So apart from the veterans, Walker Zimmerman and Tim Ream, all the other outfield players have been used. Ortega. Jones brings it away.
You can see Agnelli just having a conversation with Campbell on the back line. Not finding that little pocket so that he could be the person to release the ball between the lines. Just asking for the ball past him a little bit earlier.
This is Luna. Lovely ball through, trying to pick out Brian White. White has support from Jones on the far side. Now it's McGlynn. Anelli forward for Luna, finding his club teammate there as it's picked up here by Campbell.
Gets the ball this time. That's what he wants. He was just asking, I'm checking to it, just give me some touches, let me get into the game. He's just a little bit frustrated to not get that ball off the back line in those spots.
Diego Luna going closing down. Vivas across the back for Graterol. Down the left touchline comes for Mendoza. Under pressure here, Caden Clark. Also Vasilev battling, and Vasilev with a challenge that is being penalized by the referee. Steven Madrigal, a referee in the top flight in Costa Rica. Refereed 3 CONCACAF Nations League games last fall. little bit flat following all the changes in terms of the pace of the game. But we're about 15 minutes from full time here at Chase Stadium in Fort Lauderdale on an afternoon when 3 players scored their first ever goals for the US men's national team. 1 minute and 53 is apparently the final timing on the distance between those 2 first half goals. Right at the end of the first half, screamer from long distance from Jack McGlynn, and then the nice run and finish from Patrick Agyemang. And then Milhevic scoring just before coming off midway through the second half to make it 3. Eneli.
It's just a little bit static too. Players that are between the lines, it's just really easy for Venezuela to force the ball into predictable spaces. Just need to up the movement off the ball, need to force a little bit of decision making, but also the ball's got to fly off the foot. Just in this mid to low block that Venezuela's in, they're just very complacent to shift left and right. That's the ball that you need.
Caden Clark now heads towards the edge of the box, finds Vasilev. Luna and White both in the middle. As Vasilev makes his way towards the edge of the penalty area here. This is McGlynn. He scored one from long range. That's too far away from Jack McGlynn.
This is not missed by much. Watch this. Brenes, he's just wishing it wide. I mean, just beautifully hit. He has absolutely no chance of saving that. And this thing is knuckling towards the corner. Another wonderful strike, and just very lucky that that goes wide.
Out here for a US throw.
It's hard to know if Brenes was mad at his team or just going, what on earth is this guy doing with hitting the ball like that?
Let's get some more from Melissa on Jack McGlynn.
I got to speak to Alejandro Bedoya, who is former U.S. men's national team player and Jack McGlynn's captain at the Philadelphia Union. He said that Jack is a young player who is incredibly ambitious. I know, Kyle, you were talking about Jack and his ambitious passes, shots, and everything. He says he's just always hungry. It's funny because when he came into the team, he was that scrawny, shy boy, but he sure has grown out of his shell. He went on to say that his left foot is absolutely magical, something we've seen today, and he could put the ball anywhere he wants. So he's definitely one with a ton of potential, he says, for this U.S. men's national team, especially the way that he's going to grow under Mauricio Pochettino.
He did talk about the fact that in the past he has had some talks with the Republic of Ireland. This ball played into the middle. Campbell got ahead to it and gets it back to Schulte. He said his full focus is here right now with the United States. And I think everyone will be of the opinion that Ireland can't have him.
I would say that there's probably one time that the U.S. doesn't have to worry at all that someone's going to go and play for another national team, and it's when we're hosting the World Cup here. Yeah, he's not going anywhere.
Campbell.
High praise, too, from Bedoya. What an amazing servant he's been for the Crest and the national team. Outstanding career and wonderful person.
And Nelly playing this one all the way back towards Schulte. And then Luna able to get in there. On the scoreline with a little over 10 minutes left to play. Schulte fires it downfield, couldn't find Dejuan Jones. Caden Clark and Jones managed to pick it up. McGlynn with a nice little ball over the top. And Jones couldn't get his way down that left side. Dejuan Jones coming on as a second half substitute here for his 9th cap. It's his 3rd January camp. Made his debut against Serbia in 2023. Played 90 minutes against Slovenia last year. 3 assists in his 8 previous caps. Had a couple at the Gold Cup in 2023. One when he came off the bench in a win against Oman in September of 2023. Devon Jones coming into the game and going across to that left side, a switch of the Columbus players, replacing Afston. Gratterol's ball into the middle, comes all the way to the back post. The Venezuela fans wanting a penalty after the challenge from Devon Jones. And the substitute Tortolero standing still with his arms directed towards the referee. Caden Clark racing forward. Cleared away at the back there by Vivas.
Vivas again, just incredible pace. He's had to do that several times. 80th minute, still tracking down that long ball.
This is Luna down the left side. Couldn't quite link up there with Clark. And away come Venezuela with the ball towards Mendoza. Mendoza has a little bit of space here to carry it forward. Running at Shackmore. And Nelly getting back as well to do some defending. And now it's Ortega. Good tracking back by Brian White.
Glenn here, his personality. That's one thing. I think he's a very quiet player. With his ability and his calmness, his composure, he needs to demand the ball sometimes. Right? That's something I think he'll grow into. You know, Claudio and Armas, Pablo Mastroeni. I mean, these Michael Bradley, these players, when the game needs composure, that they demand the ball. And if you don't give it to them, they're going to let you know. So that obviously it's January camp and he's grown into it. That's one part of his game. The U.S. needs him to get a lot of touches right now.
Vasilev down the right. He's got support from Luna a little further ahead. Brian White is in the middle. Brian White, the leading American scorer in Major League Soccer last year, with 15 goals, none from penalties. This is Luna. Cross it goes for Robinson.
Trying to join the fans and force them forward, get some pressure.
Erickson Gallardo getting set to come in for Venezuela. The ball played through here for Caden Clark. Vasilev in space down the right side, but Clark will cut into the middle. Luna making a good run ahead of him. No way through though as the challenge comes in from Uriarte, who scored Venezuela's goal from a set piece to bring it back to 3-1. Here's Ortega. Played out wide to the right. Brought forward here by Roberto Rosales. Making his debut for Venezuela all the way back in 2007. Gratterol making his debut today. Down the left side for Mendoza. Back for Gratterol, the left back, who's pushing forward here. Up against Shackmore, hoisting the cross in towards the back post. Jones couldn't quite get there in the air, but it's through towards Schulte. Erickson Gallardo will be coming in for Venezuela. A former Toronto FC player, spent 3 years in Major League Soccer, Gallardo. Be making his first appearance since a September 2022 friendly against the UAE. Also spent some time in the USL Championship in 2023 with Phoenix Rising. Now there are more goals to come here. 6 minutes plus stoppage time in Fort Lauderdale, and Vasilev onto it down the right side. Challenge coming in from Gratterol, puts the ball behind for a corner. And here comes the change. Gallardo coming on for Ortega. Gallardo playing in wide attacking positions during his time in Major League Soccer. Only played 10 games in the 3 years years he was in Toronto. McGlynn coming across to the near side to take the corner. Inside the final 5.